session. We already set the pledge and the roll call at 2:30. We went into closed session, and now we're going to return with open session at this point in time. We'll come in at we're on 3.0, which is the open session. What I'm going to state is I've got a number of cards for community members to come up and speak. We have the podium up front here we'd like for you to speak from. That gives you a chance to rest your hands on something. And also it gives those that are on the camera who are viewing this via a streamline live an opportunity to see the community members talk with their concerns coming forward to the board. With that, I'm going to move on into the open session items, open items. Board members, you have your agenda in front of you. I would like board members if we can combine 3.01 and 3.02. I would like to make a motion to combine the motion for the approval of the termination of the administrative superintendent and to adopt the resolution of the dismissal of Dr. Donna Leak. Is there a motion?
So
Moved by Mr. Bass. Seconded by Dr. Woods. The reason why I wanted to combine the two, I wanted to read the resolution in its entirety before the vote were taking place. Resolution. Board of Education, Ridge Township High School District 27. The resolution regarding the suspension and dismissal of the tenured teacher, Dr. Donna Leak. Whereas the Board of Education conducted a hearing during which Dr. Donna Leak was offered an opportunity to respond to the matters set forth in this resolution and Exhibit A, attached hereto, and made a part hereof. And whereas the board finds that each charge against Dr. Leak in Exhibit A set forth conduct that is irremediable and constitutes independent grounds for her dismissal. And whereas it is the opinion of the board that the best interest of the school district requires Dr. Leak's dismissal and her suspension without pay has provided below. Now therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Education of the Ridge Township High School District 227, Cook County, Illinois as follows. Section 1. This board has considered and hereby adopts the matters set forth in the preamble to this resolution and in the notice of charges, bills of particulars, and hearing attached as Exhibit A, as the basis for dismissal of Dr. Leak as a tenured teacher in this district. Section 2, Dr. Leak is hereby suspended without pay pending conclusion of the hearing and final disposition of the dismissal proceedings initiated by this resolution. Dr. Leak's dismissal shall become effective at such time as this board's decision to dismiss is affirmed as provided by law, or in the event that Dr. Leak does not request a hearing within the time provided by law, immediately upon the expiration of the time to request a hearing, or in the event a hearing is timely requested and later withdrawn, immediately upon the State Board of Education's confirmation of the termination of the hearing. Section 3, the President and Secretary of this board are hereby authorized and directed to prepare and serve or cause to be prepared and served on Dr. Leak and on the Illinois State Board of Education, respectively. A written notice of charges, bills of particulars, and hearing substantially in the form of the attached Exhibit A. Section 4. In the event Dr. Leak's timely request of a hearing, the President and the Secretary of this board are hereby authorized and directed to prepare and serve, or cause to be prepared and serve, a notice of hearing of the Illinois State Board of Education substantially in the form of Exhibit B. Attached hereto and made a part hereof, accompanied by a secretary's certificate certifying a true and a correct copy of this resolution, and also certifying this board's motion to vote on the dismissal of Dr. Leak. Section 5. The President and Secretary of this board are authorized and directed to prepare and serve, or cause to be prepared and serve, such notices and documentation as may be necessary in order to effectuate the dismissal of Dr. Leak as a tenured teacher in this school district. Any notice required or authorized to be given pursuant to this resolution or by law may be served personally, by overnight mail, by registered or certified mail, return receipt requested, and or by first-class mail. In the event Dr. Leak does not accept service or fails to claim from the United States Postal Service any document sent by overnight mail or registered mail or certified mail to her last known residence, the document shall be deemed to have been received as follows, unless otherwise required or provided by law. 1. In the case of overnight mail, without requirements of personal receipt on the date of delivery to her residence. 2. In the case of overnight mail to be received only by Dr. Leak or registered or certified mail, return receipt request. On the date the Postal Service returns the document to the sender because it could not be delivered and was not claimed in accordance with the customary procedures of the Postal Service. Section 6, Forensic Record, PC, 300 South Wacker Drive, Suite 3400, Chicago, Illinois, 60606, is hereby appointed as agent and attorneys for this school district in connection with the dismissal of Dr. Leak, and is authorized to proceed with the selection of the hearing officer as provided by law. Section 7. This resolution shall be in full force and effect upon its adoption. Adopted this 15th day of June 2013 by the following roll call vote upon the motion. The motion has already been made. At this point in time, we have roll call. We've already discussed quite a bit in closed session. Please call the roll.
Bass?
Yes.
Woods?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
Coleman?
Yes.
Friday?
No.
Immokalee?
No.
Owens?
I'm going to vote no, but I also want to explain that I will not be voting yes because there has not been adequate time for the entire board to examine the evidence and the contents of that resolution. To have discussed it just prior to this meeting certainly does not constitute adequate time. I am not convinced that the evidence is there. I have not seen it in detail, and therefore I am voting no.
Amen.
Duly noted, motion passed.
Madam President?
Yes, sir.
Just a comment.
Yes.
Comment for clarity, and I'd like to be on record. I was not informed about this. I stated it, I made this statement at the closed session. And I have made this comment before when the new majority on the board took over, that I would like to be informed. I believe in protocol. As a board member, we all board members should be informed as regards what is coming up on the board. For me to open the board doc and see issues rather than being informed in advance, I don't think that is the process that the board is supposed to follow. So since I am not informed, I believe in the policies and procedures of the board. Most of the issues that will be discussed today, I will be voting no. The individuals might be good people to serve, but when I say no, I'm voting on behalf of all the people who elected me. I've been in municipal and school board boards within this community for over 20 years, and I will say that my stand is based on my record. Nothing against any personal, any individual. We follow the procedure. We have not followed the procedure. That is the reason you will hear me say no. Thank you.
Speaking of following procedure, that is precisely the reason I voted yes, is because I wanted very much to work with Dr. Leak as a person of integrity and trying to keep my word. I have worked with Dr. Leak, but the board majority at the time did not work with her. I wanted to evaluate and monitor the school district's academic, instructional, and fiscal assets in the form of an evaluation instrument, which I put together 4 years ago upon my first interest on this board. And let me explain this to you, ladies and gentlemen. This is not about getting back at anybody. I am about being objective, judicious, and fair. That's what I have, that's the way I have not been treated, but I had every intention of working with Dr. Leak. But the new board that came on who thought otherwise, and I had told Dr. Leak that I had every intention of working with her, with the new board coming on.
So vote no.
And I really, and I was thanking her for allowing me to work with her, reviewing the 5-week assessment, and we met faithfully. But the new board wasn't on that page. You know, evaluation grows you, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't harm anyone. It helps us to continue to learn and grow. Both as a college professor, a school principal, central office administrator in the Chicago Public Schools, I was evaluated. That helped me to grow and become better, ladies and gentlemen, not bitter. That's what we will be doing in the future as the new board has taken its seat in May. We will be evaluating people and helping them to grow, just as I have been evaluated in every position that I have ever held in my life. And I think I grew from that. It wasn't to harm me, but to help me.
Mrs. Friday?
I want to make it clear to the audience that I was never a part of any discussion with the board as a whole in reference to Dr. Leak's performance, her lack thereof. And as a board member that was elected by the public to work with the other board members in the best interest of the community, I think it's important for you guys to know. And so when I spread the information, I spread the truth. Everything I've said has been factual. I bet. I honestly believe that if Dr. Leak was deficient in her job performance, she should have been given an opportunity for remediation. Up until earlier this week, I was unaware of the potential of Dr. Leak being terminated, but it was brought to my attention by community members on Monday. And so with that being said, you guys, I felt it was my responsibility because you all elected me to serve the community, to make it known. So people are going to come up here and they're going to chastise me. But I will say to everyone, if you have a problem, so what? I have a responsibility to the community. It was okay when you spread information to the community, but now when I do it, there's an issue. I have a responsibility. I will follow that responsibility. You don't have to agree with it. I don't have to agree with you. But I have the right to tell the truth.
Dr. Woods?
We all have responsibility, and we're governed by two principles: what's in the best interest of the students, and provide and be committed to the success of all students. And every decision that we have made has been based on those principles. I would say to you that when you're able to obtain all of the information, and eventually you will, ask yourself one question: what if it had been me or my child? And I think you will have a better understanding of what you're doing. Thank you. President Coleman.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I have another statement.
What?
I would
Madam,
like
hold on,
for my
Ms. Owens.
statements to be
Hold on for a
made a part of the record.
Hold on for a second, please. I think Mr. Bass was next. We have to kind of go through all of this,
All right,
and then you'll
I
come back
will.
to you. Mr. Bass, did you want to say something? Or you want to go on?
Yeah. I received the final documents. I received these documents last night by email from Ms. Coleman.
Yeah.
So all these lies about people had it beforehand is totally untrue. But I can't challenge me. What'd you say?
We're not going to discuss anything with the public at this time. This meeting is moving forward.
You can challenge me on anything, but at the end of the day, I care about the kids. I care about how the kids and what
With that, Ms. Owens, I'm going to allow you to take a second comment, and then we'll go on into, I'll state the public official privilege comments for the community.
I want to be sure that my comments were a part of the record, and I also want to add to that tonight was the first time that this board met with the attorney to discuss any matters on this agenda having to do with personnel, including the termination of the superintendent. First time we've had the opportunity to meet with the attorney.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on. What I'm going to do at this point in time, I'm going to read a statement that's the official statement of the board. Every other statement is the individual's person. They have a right to their statements, and they have a right to their own feelings. That's what the democratic process is about. What I'd like to do tonight, though, for the crowd, if you can respect each other's difference and not scream while other members are talking when they're not your party or your affiliated belief. Please be respectful and mindful of every member of the board, because we're going to give you that same due respect back when you come up, and we will not yell at you from this seat and tell you differently. So I ask for each public member to please have respect for the board. I'm going to read to you the official statement from the board. Rich Township High School District 227, public statement following the board action for the dismissal of Dr. Donna Leak. Recently, several issues related to the superintendent's management. Recently, several issues related to the superintendent's management of the district have come to the board's attention. Such issues related to gross improprieties in the processing of student expulsions, recommending that the board enter into unenforceable contracts with several administrators, and improperly sanctioning the denial of the access of the district office the district's central office to a board member. The board has pursued these matters in an efficient, fair, and prompt manner in order to protect the interests of the district and to respect the rights and privacy interests of the students and its employees. The superintendent was provided an opportunity to address the board and respond to the charges before any and final decisions were made. Based on its investigation, the board has determined that the best interests of the district require that the superintendent's dismissal. The resolution adopted by the board initiates a process under the Illinois School Code for dismissal of Dr. Leak as tenured employee in the district. The resolution also suspends Dr. Leak without pay while the dismissal process is pending. The board has also terminated, okay, actually, I've got to finish reading that portion on the next phase, if it's in fact true. So that is the official statement of the board.
That's not official.
And what I would like to share with you, when it's public comments time, you may come up and you may state your point. However, all cards that are completed at this point in time that I have currently in my possession will be the only people that speak tonight. We will have another board meeting on Tuesday, another public comment section. You're more than welcome to come back and share your thoughts and comments again. So with that being said, I then want to go on to item 3.03. May I have a motion to terminate and declare null and void ab initio multi-year student performance contract for Dr. Donna Leak?
So moved.
By Mr. Bass, by Dr. Morgan. We spoke about this also in closed session. Call the roll, please.
Bass,
Yes.
Madam President?
Yes,
There should be a space for discussion.
it is. Do you want to discuss? Just call for one. You want discussion?
There should be a space for discussion.
Okay, discuss, please. Mr. Amakade, would you like the floor?
Yes, please.
Okay, Mr. Amakade.
You have already terminated Dr. Leak. Then why are we discussing the contract of someone that has been terminated?
Okay. Well, let me explain that. We have all, are you want me to answer that right now?
Yes,
Okay.
I just feel it's mundane for us to go back and start discussing the contract of someone that you have already terminated.
Okay. Well, let me put it like this. We have several contracts, and we, as a board, decided that we will, all the contracts that we feel are null and void due to multi-year contracts not having student-based performance criteria attached to them at the point of installation, we would deem them as null and void. And this is also to one of them. There's no need to leave this hanging out. While we're here together as a board, and we've already discussed it in closed session.
Agreed.
So-
I was just trying to, because as I said, I believe in process.
And this is
We
one of the
should
process.
have gone through, the first process should have been canceling the contract and of the multi-year contract. Then thereafter we terminate. Now you have already terminated the individual. Then what is the essence of talking about the individual's contract?
Thank you very much. Any other comment? I responded in closed session quite lengthy about this concern. And if there's any other question about the contract, trust me, we will be dealing with that with the next item, which is 3.04. If any other board member have any other concerns about multi-year contracts that we've already discussed in great lengths in closed session, this is not this first closed session we discussed this in. We also discussed this in the prior closed session meeting. And we also challenged each other's thoughts when they were written in the first place. When it comes down to multi-year contracts, we have been challenged by this community several times. We had people to come up to the microphone and tell us that we were, in fact, signing contracts multi-year without having student-based performance attached to them. The public challenged us. I reminded you of that in another meeting that we had. And now we're saying that this is our first time talking about it. So I'm not gonna sit here and say and argue back and forth with the board members to state that we didn't discuss this before, because if I pull the closed session tapes, clearly we discussed this before. So what I want to say, let's stay focused. If you want to make a statement for the record, you're more than welcome to make a statement. I'm not going to cut off any member to make a statement. But to say that we didn't follow process and protocol and that we did not talk about this prior to coming to this point right here to vote on it is in fact not true. And if I have to go and pull closed session tape, since we're revealing everything, we can do that, but I will not do that. So with that being said, if there are any other comments or questions, call the motion. Call for the question. Call.
Bass,
Yes.
Woods,
Yes.
Morgan,
Yes.
Coleman,
Yes.
Friday, Immokalee,
No.
Owens.
No.
Motion passed. Item 3.04, motion to terminate and declare null and void ab initio multi-year student performance contracts for Norrell, Engel, Poole, Hudson, Kramer, and offer a one-year administrative contract to Norrell, Engel, Hudson, and Kramer. May I have a motion for the approval of those?
So moved.
Mr. Bass and Dr. Morgan. Moved by Mr. Bass, seconded by Dr. Morgan. Any comments or questions again about multi-year contracts?
Yes.
Go ahead, please.
I did vote for these multi-year contracts. Most of us did vote for it. And personally, I was not in support of it prior to voting for it. I met with the superintendent. My personal preference would have been one-year contract. But I was convinced then, after talking to the superintendent, we did agree that at our retreat, we were all going to discuss it and come to an agreement, which is the right process to follow. And then thereafter, we give the consensus at our retreat, agree in this direction that it's a multi-year contract or a single-year contract, then we move forward. That's the democratic process I'm familiar with. And then we agreed that I did vote, and since I'm a man of my word, I gave my word on behalf of the people that these two-year contracts should go ahead. So I will vote that it should not be rescinded.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions?
Yes, I would like to know, we don't know the content of the one-year contract, and I would like that information. I don't have enough information to vote on this at this time.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Bass,
Yes.
Woods,
Yes.
Morgan,
Yes.
Coleman,
Yes.
Friday,
No.
Immokalee,
No.
Owens.
No.
Motion passed. We are now on to 3.05, which is the motion for the approval of the resignation of Mr. Jamie Poole, principal at Rich Central High School. May I have, is there a motion, for the approval of the resignation of Mr. Jamie Poole, principal at Rich Central?
Motion approved.
Okay, moved by Mrs. Friday and seconded by Dr. Morgan. Comments or questions? Call the roll, please.
Bass,
Yes.
Woods,
Yes.
Morgan,
Yes.
Coleman,
Yes.
Friday,
Bring your mic closer, she can't hear you.
Yes.
Immokalee,
Aye.
Owens.
Yes.
Motion passed. We are at 3.06. 3.06 is, may I have a motion for the approval of the creation of the Assistant Superintendent of Operations position and for Ms. Cynthia Hudson to be the Assistant Superintendent of Operations. Moved by Dr. Woods,
Second.
seconded by Dr. Morgan. It's been moved and second for the approval, it's been moved and second for the approval of the creation of this position of Assistant Superintendent of Operations and for Mrs. Cynthia Hudson to be the Assistant Superintendent of Operations for Rich Township. Question, Mrs. Friday? statement, okay?
Because I had no knowledge of the creation of this position and was not involved with any conversation concerning the position, I will not be supporting.
Thank you. Any other comments or
Yes,
questions?
this is an inappropriate motion because the agenda says motion for approval of a position that we never approved. And if we did not approve it, we certainly cannot, and to stick creation in there tonight is not appropriate.
Any other comments or questions? Hold on, I want to make sure. Any other comments or questions, Ms. Owens?
No, other than we never discussed this, other than in closed session for a few minutes tonight, only when I reminded you that it was on.
Hold on.
But we did not. we
Please,
did not
everybody, I
talk
need
about
quiet in the audience.
creation prior to tonight. There, and as I said, this is not an appropriate motion because creation was not on the agenda. Therefore, approval should not be on the agenda.
Okay. Do you have any other comments or questions?
Yes, Madam President.
Yes.
I know Mrs. Cynthia Hodgson.
Yes.
She's been a principal in a district for quite a while. She's there about 3 to 4 years. Just like any of our principals, they are all competent people. This position could be handled by her. I did see her credentials before. However, as I indicated at the start, that when the process is not followed, this board as a body did not review the position, except for today that it was brought up to us. We did not create the position. We did not as well establish that position. We have not discussed the remuneration for that position. There are lots of things we have not done, but for that to be thrown at us, and personally, I respect every board member. We all went through a lot to be elected, but we know that we represent the people. There are processes and procedures that need to be followed. So I do not feel it is, and I will vote no, not against you, Mrs. Hodgson, as a person, but against the process, procedures, and policy.
Okay. Let me share with you, board members, and I know we spoke about this briefly in the closed session. When it comes down to the day-to-day operation of the school district, I've always been told my 2 years by the previous chair that we don't get involved with the day-to-day. We just accept the recommendations that was presented by the district. Today, we have a district interim HR director who's well qualified and well established in her own right, saw a need and a concern that in our first meeting that we had where the band parents from Rich East came in to our school crying because our scheduling is so messed up that kids cannot sign up for band. We also have heard the cries of the teachers that in some cases classrooms are as full as 42, 38, and 36, of which we never get involved in the day-to-day, so I never heard that concern until I got into negotiations. And upon hearing those kind of information, the interim HR saw a need to create a position of assistant superintendent of operations, which will be responsible for alleviating the pain of the 42 size classrooms, which is ridiculous to expect a teacher to educate our kids. We also heard concerns where we had some expulsion concerns and criteria. This position will oversee all 3 schools in the district office. We spoke about that in great detail and great lengths. I am really concerned that if we do not vote, all of us, 100% yes on this, we're not supporting the teachers, we're not supporting the children, and we're hurting the master scheduling process, which we already know has been affected because kids want to take band. They want other programs, but they can't take it because of a scheduling issue. This position is key and critical and crucial and needs to be in place immediately. And saying anything other than yes will try to delay that process and delay that tactic. And to me, I believe that we should vote yes so that we can help everybody involved, including the people that attend the school there. I'm sorry. Okay. And when it comes down to adding the word creation, you can alter and add to an agenda item as long as it's germane to the subject, per Robert's Rules of Order. The only thing that I did was add the word creation. And it's totally legal to do that. So with that being said, Mrs. Friday, you have a comment?
And I have one following Mrs.
No
Friday.
problem.
I don't have a problem with the creation of the position. I have a problem with the process and how it took place. If there are, I don't feel that just because you vote no, it doesn't mean that you don't care about the number of children, you're not concerned about the number of children in class or any other things that may have been mentioned. I just think that the process is faulty. When you have board members who do not know that interviews are being held, this is the second time this is happening, for positions, and are left totally out of the loop. It's not right. Now, someone may beg to differ to say, well, it happened in the past. But we are a team. If it didn't work right, if it wasn't right in the past, and if it didn't work then, why do we think it's going to work now?
Okay. Let me try to help out with something with that. And Ms. Owens, I'll let you speak next, please. With regards to what worked in the past and what didn't work, one thing for certain, when we interviewed for all those different positions, I had no privilege of that either, but I voted for those people when it was time. However, when it came down to Dr. Langen needing to make a move quickly in order to secure the right and proper staff so that the school district can move forward, she has free reign as HR to do HR functions, and that is purely an HR function. I don't believe that's the role of the board. Although the position reports to the board, I don't think we should dictate to her how her process is followed. As long as we have the free will to come into the building like we used to, and you guys used to walk in all the time to see the superintendent and ask questions, you still have an open door process with Dr. Langen. She works for you. Anytime you have a question about anything posted or anything that she's doing, trust me, she can answer those questions for you. Let me let Ms. Owens first, and then I'll come back to you.
Okay, two things. I see a great conflict here because it seems to me that this board voted to have the HR department report directly to the board.
That's right.
So you should, 7 of us. I have not seen or heard the director of HR reporting to the board. Have you? Okay, secondly, from what I know about scheduling, you may have a section that has 42 kids in it, but the remedy comes when you advertise for a second teacher for that. The 42 does not stand the whole year. There's no way that will stand the whole year, and anybody that knows anything about scheduling would know that. I am an educator. I was professionally paid for 33 years. There's no way those 2 sections would have gone forward with 1 teacher. There aren't even enough seats in the classroom for 42 kids.
Ms. Owens, you stated something very profound to me. You stated that the human resource director position reports directly to the board, and that's 7 of us. I had the same concern when you stated that the superintendent's position reported directly to the board. Once again, that's 7 of us. There were several moves that you made as chair in
We're
which...
talking about this situation.
Okay, ready? Do you want to move on? Please have a seat and stop yelling out. Please have a seat, stop yelling out in the audience, or we're going to have to have you move. This is not the time for public comment section, and I'm so sorry. I can give you the mic at a later time. Please stop yelling in the audience. You're going to have security remove them, but we're going to move forward. With that, we're going to move on. With that, we're going to move on if that is in fact the case. I need the audience I need the audience to come under control in order for the board to do its function. I need the audience to respect the board. Screaming at the board is improper. Screaming at the board, we cannot have hecklers in the audience. Screaming at the board is inappropriate. This is not the appropriate time for the public to yell at the board. I have a public comment section in which I have a public comment section. Madam, security, please allow her to sit down and have her to please settle down so that we can, please ma'am, please have a seat so that we can continue to go through the meeting. Please ma'am, have a seat or you're gonna have to leave the audience. We have to move on with the meeting. This is inappropriate. We are the rich district. We can respond better than that. Would you like to go ahead? Please go ahead, Mrs. Riley.
Just wanted to make one more comment about the posting of the position. The position was posted on a Monday evening and was filled already by Thursday. That is not, I believe that by law, because I used to be in HR, the position has to be listed at least 5 business days. And that did not occur in this instance.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments?
Madam President?
Yes?
The issue here is this, from what I could see. I stated at the first board meeting that we should stop using the word I, we should use the word we, because we seek the consent of the entire board. And then when we come out, we will speak on the grounds of we. But the creation of this position is just going to a question of unilateral action by the president. I was not informed. The other board members were not informed. And, you know, it disturbs me. It disturbs me. I do not feel a board president acts as the spokesperson for the entire board, not for an individual opinion. Your opinion is in your pocket. It has to be approved by the majority. When the 7 members of the board sit down, then you are mandated. You know, I will stop talking because these days I get so disturbed. There was a board meeting I couldn't attend. At the closed session, I developed nosebleed. I don't want the nosebleed to convert to a stroke. So I will say that let's follow the process. You have the majority. When you call the 7 members of the board and you tell them what you want to tell them, we vote it either up or down, but you'll get the majority of 4, then bring it up to the public. That is all. I'm only trying to talk about the process. So I'm very disturbed by that, Madam President.
Thank you so much for your comment. You'd like to respond? Okay. Dr. Morgan, you have the floor.
Good point, Mr. Monday. As I recall the most recent past, we don't seek the consent. We must not only seek the consent of the entire board, but the community as well. I am more disturbed by the wrong that this previous board has done to the community than what it has done to me personally, or to this board. We must first and foremost respect the community, because with community participation, we will succeed. Without it, we will fail. We must always respect this community who we should represent and protect its academic, fiscal, and instructional assets.
Thank you. Call for the question, please. Call roll.
Bass.
Yes.
Woods. Morgan.
Yes.
Coleman.
Yes.
Friday.
No.
Immokalee.
No.
Owens.
No.
Okay. We have approved the creation of the Assistant Superintendent of Operations and Supervisor. I believe, oh, we have one more. May I have a motion to table the approval of the termination of an exempt employee?
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Owens. Seconded by
Anybody?
Mr. Immokalee. Call the roll, please.
Bass,
Yes.
Woods, Morgan,
Yes.
Coleman,
Yes.
Friday,
Yes.
Immokalee,
Aye.
Owens.
Yes.